In this video, we're going to pick up where we left off in our previous video, covering how to unwrap a mesh's UVs and distribute those UVs into UDIM tiles. In our previous video, we covered how to do this with the element graph, and you can check out that video in the description below. In this video, we'll look at how we can automate this process even further with InstaMAT's nPass graph and create a node that can automatically detect how many material sections there are in the input mesh and unwrap all of them into UDIM tiles, complete with customization over the rows and columns. Let's dive in. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new project, and this time we're going to create an nPass element graph and create it without a template. So the beginning of this video is going to be very similar to the previous part where we go ahead and import our mesh, and then we're going to go through the first few steps of just, extracting out a material section and unwrapping the UVs. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see I've got my mesh here from the previous example, and let's go ahead and get the material name. And the material name we're getting based on the index of the material section. That's very important. And now let's go ahead and extract our meshes out based on this material name. And there you go. You can see we've extracted out the bench because that is the first material section at index 0. So now all that's left to do, just like before, is unwrap the UVs, just like that. And I'll go ahead and say this is a hard surface axial unwrapping. And then we'll go ahead and say mesh UV just to preview the UVs. And yep, everything is working out as expected. So just like before, we've done the same exact thing as what we're doing with the element graph. But now we're going to start using some of the special nPass features to enhance this so that we can do an iterative workflow that automatically loops through all the material sections from the input mesh and unwraps them and distributes them into UDIM tiles. So what I want to do is I want to tie this pass count. I want to, as I increase this number, I want to go through and iterate through all the different material sections in the input mesh. Now let's set this up a little bit. I'm going to right click this pass count to show it in the variable editor, and I'm going to set the maximum to 20. So it's a lot easier to, step through all these different passes without going through too many at once. And so now what I can do is I can take the pass index, that's the number of the pass that we're currently on, and I'm going to connect it to this material section index here for the get material name option. So now as I increase the pass count, if we look at this, let's say we go to 2, you can see now we're unwrapping the second material index and so on. If I increase this, we'll do the third. But notice what's happening here. We're just looking at one section at a time. We're not accumulating and combining all of our different passes together into one finalized mesh. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and bring this onIterationFinished function here over to the right, because what we need to do is we need to create some kind of buffer. This buffer is going to keep track of all the work that we've done in the previous passes, and then it's going to append the pass that we're currently on to that buffer and perform this iterative cycle where we combine everything together into our finalized UV unwrapped mesh. So let's create that buffer. I'll create a new nPass variable. I'll go ahead and say it's an element mesh, and we'll call this buffer. And when I add this, you can see it adds it to our options here. So now what I can do is let's take this buffer and let's go ahead and get a mesh append node, and we're going to append the result of the current pass that we're on to what we have in the buffer, combining everything back together again. And then at the end of every pass, we're going to now take the result of this mesh append node and update the buffer with all of our combined meshes. And so now what you'll be able to see here, if we view the results of this, is that we have all of our passes that we've done so far combined together, which is great. That's exactly what we're looking for. However, just like before, if I take my mesh UV unwrap node and we just look at the mesh UV node and we look at the results, you can see that we are again stacking all of our UVs on top of one another in that 0 to 1 space. So like in part 1 in the element video, what we need to do is push over our UDIM tiles every unit over so that we don't have these overlapping shells. And the way that we did that, if I just make some room here, is we use that mesh UV transform node. And the mesh UV transform node is going to push over those UVs for the certain section that we're working on based on this translate parameter here. So let's go ahead and connect this. And let's just set the pass count down to 2 so that we have less passes to worry about. And we'll just kind of hook this up. So now we're going to transform the UVs. Now, by how much are we going to translate the UVs? Well, we're going to move it over in the X here by the amount of our pass index. So remember, our pass index starts at 0. So the first pass, we're not going to move over anything over in the X. We're just going to keep those UVs in the 0, 0 coordinates for that first UDIM tile. But if we increase the pass count to, for example, well, we'll just say 2, that means our pass index is 1, and then we're going to move it over 1 unit in the X. So to do that, to connect our pass index to the amount of how many tiles we're going to move our UVs over, we need to convert these things to talk to each other correctly. So this is pretty easy to do in InstaMAT. In order to set this translate value, we can branch out a connection and type in make. And this is going to make a vector2. That's what this pink property is. So if I go ahead and do that, you can see we can make a vector2 out of x and y floats. And if you want to know what type of value this is, you can hover over this in the graph object editor, and you can see it says vector2 float. But now we need to convert this uint value into a float for the x. So I could branch out a connection, type in uint, and now you can see we have uint to float. So that's how easy it is to convert value types in InstaMAT. Now I'm going to connect the pass index to this here. And so now what this is going to do is it's going to push over the UVs by the pass index amount, 1 unit or 2 units, depending on whichever pass count we're on. And that's going to solve our problem of not having our UVs overlapping. So just to reiterate, we do the same thing we did before for the element graph. We extract out the geometry that belongs to a material section. We then unwrap the UVs, and we then push the UVs over by our pass index amount, by that unit amount, and then we append that result to the buffer. Anything that was in the buffer before, we're going to add what we're currently working on to that buffer, and then we get our final result. So I'll go ahead and set this to 3, so that we have 3 tiles worth of content. And now let's take a look at this inside of InstaMAT Studio. All right, so here we are in InstaMAT Studio, and I've gone ahead and imported our mesh so far with those first 3 passes. Let's go ahead and select all of our objects, and we can now see, yes, we have automatically unwrapped all of our UVs for the mesh so far into 3 different UDIM tiles. All right, so now what I want our graph to do is I want it to loop through all the material sections that we have, but I want it to automatically stop processing once it's gone through all the material sections. I don't want it to do any unnecessary extra passes once we've gone through and exceeded all of the material sections available in the input mesh. Speaking of input mesh, let's go ahead and expose this workbench FBX. This is our input mesh here as an input for our graph. So if we do that here, and then I type this, let's call this mesh. Now, when we use this as a node, we can replace the input mesh, and it's going to go ahead and process the graph. In addition, what I want to do is also create an output. So at the end of the mesh append node here, I'm going to just expose this as an output so that we can get our final fully, UV unwrapped and everything combined together mesh at the end of this node once it's done processing. So now, again, I want to be able to have this graph automatically stop once it's gone through all the material sections. And in order to do this, we have to make the nPass graph self-terminate. Now, we've created a video on our YouTube channel explaining exactly how to create nPass graphs that automatically stop once the work is finished. And I'm going to go ahead and link down that video in the description below. And I highly recommend that you check it out because we go into some great detail on how to do this. Otherwise, I'm just going to quickly do this here for our nPass graph for this example. So what I need to do is I need to get the number of material sections for our input mesh. And InstaMAT has a great node for this. If I type in info, you can see that we have mesh get information. And this gets a lot of details and information about the mesh that we're processing here, including the material count. Now this material count starts at 1, and we're going to compare, how many material sections there are to our pass index. And once our pass index equals the amount of material sections that we can process, then we know that we're on the last pass and we can stop the graph from processing and continuing to iterate. But our pass index starts at 0 and this starts at 1. So to compare these evenly, we need to subtract. So if I type in uint minus uint, we need to subtract 1 to this. So now this is a maximum of 7. So now let's compare every pass. Let's compare our pass index to how many material sections there are available. And that's very easy to do. I'll just go ahead and say, all right, pass index, is it greater than or equal to another uint? In that case, is it equal to or greater than the amount of total material sections that we can process? If it's false, then we're going to perform some logic. And if it's true, then we're going to do something else. So again, just like in the video that I linked below, we're going to use a conditional select uint node here. So when this is false, we're going to pass through this false value. When it's true, we're going to pass in this true value. And now what are we going to do? Well, when the pass index, let's go ahead and set this to 8. I know that that's the total amount of materials in this particular mesh. So you can see this is now true. Now, when we've reached that final pass, what we need to do is we need to set our pass index to equal the same value as our pass count. That's how we do the self-termination. So we can do that by setting the pass index here on this onIterationFinished function. So here's what we do. We'll go ahead and make some more room here. And I'm just going to take that pass count, drop it in here. And so when this condition is true, we're going to set this pass count to be the true value here. And we're going to go ahead and connect this to our pass index here on the onIterationFinished. And I missed that there, so let's go ahead and connect it again. There we go. And let's just go ahead and add a little reroute point to clean things up. So this is great. Once we hit this maximum number here and it's equal to our maximum amount of material sections, the graph is no longer going to process. But as I mentioned in that other video, when we set a value here for this pass index manually, it overrides the behavior of automatically incrementing the pass index for every pass. So in this case, we just need to fill in that logic for this false option here. So to do that, again, it's very easy. Let's just take our pass index, add in a uint plus uint node, and we'll say we'll add 1 to it and connect it here for the false case. So now if I set this down to, pass count 1, you can see everything is still working fine. If I go ahead and set it to 2, again, we're going to increment to the next material section and so on. So that's great. So what this means is this pass count is more like a maximum pass count. I could set this to a maximum of something like 20. And it's only going to process at a maximum amount of 20 iterations. It's not even going to get there because there's only 8 material sections, but this gives you that kind of stopgap where, if you only want to have a maximum amount of like 20 UDIMs that you want to process with this node, then that's the maximum potential amount of work that the node can do. Otherwise, it will just stop early. So we could rename this to maximum, like max pass count. And that's going to give us a better idea of what this slider does. So now that we've done this and I've set my maximum, pass count to 20, let's go ahead and view the output here that we have on the node so we can see our finalized combined result here. And let's take a look at what this gives us inside of InstaMAT Studio. All right, so you can see I've imported our mesh into InstaMAT Studio. And if I go ahead and select everything and look at the UV viewer, you can see exactly what we were expecting here. We now have our UVs unwrapped for multiple UDIMs. But in fact, you can see that we have quite a lot of UDIM tiles here. And a lot of times UDIMs aren't set up, to be in this long, consistent line. But what we usually have is we have our UDIMs in multiple rows and columns as well, in more of a grid like this. So let's quickly adjust our graph to automatically create these rows and columns for us. And we can set, how many tiles we have in a row automatically. It's a quick change, and let's go ahead and do it now. All right, so here we are back in InstaMAT Studio, and I've just made a few quick adjustments to the graph. I've just spread some things out, so we have some nice room to work with. I got rid of the UV tile kind of preview node there that we don't really need anymore, and I've just made some extra room here. So let's take a look at how we can distribute those tiles into a grid with rows and columns. And the trick here is to just adjust how we manipulate our UVs, how we transform them based on every pass. And right now we're just moving them over based on our pass index. But now we need to create some rows and columns, which means we need to do a new operation, which is going to involve the modulo operator. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm actually going to, we have this connection to pass index here just to, free things up and kind of clean up some space to give us a little bit of clarity. I'm going to grab this pass index and I'm going to create another instance of this variable here. So it's easier to work with. We don't have to worry about connecting to earlier parts of the graph. It's totally fine to have multiple instances of the same variable inside of our project. I'm also going to set the max pass count to 1 just so things process a bit more quickly. So now to set the X value, what I have to do is I need to use the modulo operator. So I'm going to branch off a connection here from pass index and type in mod. And this is going to give me the mod uint operator here. And what we need to do is figure out how many columns we have. How many tiles are we going to have in each row before we create a new row? And to do that, we can set a maximum columns value. So I'll create an input and I will again make a uint and I'll call this max columns. And I'll go ahead and drag this in here and we can set this to a default value of 3. So we're only going to have 3 UDIMs across before we make a new row. And so now all I have to do is just connect this to the B part of the mod uint. And that's what I can set here for the X value of the make vec2. So that's pretty easy. So now how do we move our UDIM tiles up a unit every 3 UDIM tiles? Well, that just involves dividing our pass index and our max columns. So I'll go ahead and branch off a connection from pass index, hit the divide key here, and divide this with our max columns here. And now I can go ahead and I'll just create another uint to float. I can alt left click and drag to duplicate this. And I'll set my Y here. And then I can just set this as the uint to float value. And now we have both our X and Y units that we're going to distribute our UDIM tiles to based on this logic. So let's go ahead and test all of this out. And the way I'm going to do that is by turning this graph into a node that we can reuse in other projects. So let's rename this. Let's call it Unwrap Mesh for UDIM Workflow. Go ahead and save this. And I'm going to, let's make a new element graph here, just a test graph. And we'll just go into our package management panel and just drag an instance in our node here. So now we have a mesh input. It's going to process and unwrap our mesh into UDIM tiles automatically, and then it's going to give us our output. So let's go ahead and bring in our workbench. And what I can do is I can go ahead and set this to a max value of 20. So that's how many iterations it could potentially do. And then I'll just connect it. And that's all that needs to be done. It's going to go ahead and process this input mesh. It's going to loop through all of those, material sections that we have, and it's going to unwrap all of those meshes into UDIM tiles for me. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this result in InstaMAT's Studio. All right, so here we are back in InstaMAT's Studio. You can see that we have all of our meshes here imported. And if I select everything, you can indeed see that we do have our UDIM grid set up with our rows and columns. So now we have a typical UV UDIM layout that we can configure with our new node. All right, so here's a look at that final graph that we created, and we have now created a reusable project that takes advantage of nPass graphs to iterate through all the material sections in a mesh and unwrap those UVs into UDIM tiles for the UDIM workflow. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. For the latest news about InstaMAT, please visit our website, follow us on X, join us on Discord, or sign up for the Abstract community. You can find all the links in the video description below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.